Welcome to the Town of Grange Planning Board meeting, May 21st, 2026. Our next submission deadline is May 28th, 2026 by noon. I'll repeat that. Our next submission deadline is May 28th, 2026 by noon. Our next regular meeting is June 18th, 2026. I'd like to call our meeting to order. And first item is accept the previous meeting's minutes. Any comments, corrections? Okay. Motion to accept. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Before we get into the public hearings, last month I read a letter regarding the town center, which I decided, after considering everyone's input, not to have the town center on this month's agenda. They will probably be on next month's agenda. Last month I read a letter from the applicant's representative, and in response to that, the LaGrange Fire District would like me to read this into the record. And just so everyone knows, the reason I read Kelly Leiboldt's letter is because they need information from the fire department. And I wanted to get the applicant and the fire department to join together. And I believe after you listen to this letter, you'll see that I think we're accomplishing that. Dear Chairman Aldrich, at the previous meeting, a letter from KRC Planning Consultants Incorporated regarding the Town Center project was read into the public record. In the interest of public transparency and providing a complete context, I request that this letter also be read aloud. I would like to clarify and address several points raised in the consultant's correspondence. Data requests and response times regarding the ISO information. I confirm the district's cooperation in fulfilling these requests. While receipt of the initial inquiry was not immediately confirmed, for which I take responsibility, it is important to note that the district must balance administrative requests with the primary mission of providing fire and emergency medical services. This specific inquiry required coordinating with outside entities and the time needed to receive those external replies. Since the last meeting, the requested information was alternatively sourced and provided to the planning consultant on Monday, April 20th, 2026. This submission included ISO report summaries from the 2017 to 2019 review period, updated contact information with ISO public protection classification, a map of the LaGrange district. Additionally, because the current data is over 6 years old, I have requested a new ISO study for LaGrange, which is scheduled for July 15th, 2026. We hope this information helps the developer resolve questions from the December public hearing regarding how the town center project may affect the town's ISO rating and consequently the taxpayers of LaGrange. Outstanding concerns from the fire district. After reviewing the online project documentation, I have located the response to the fire district's 2009 concerns within Appendix D, response to comments in the final environmental impact FEIS, of which we did not receive a formal reply. Consequently, I am seeking a formal written update regarding the concerns raised in a letter dated November 15th, 2021, included with this letter as reference. A letter we have not received a formal written reply on. In response to the town center FEIS and meeting industry standards for the betterment and safety of the taxpayer, visitors of LaGrange, and emergency responders. The overview of this document is outlined below and included with this letter. Operations managing anticipated call volume impacts that exceed normal growth. Apparatus, the specific operational need for an aerial device for this density. Facilities, requirements for location near the center of town. Infrastructure, verification of hydrant flow rates and water pressure for the proposed build-out. Fiscal impact, clarification on whether project property taxes will sufficiently compensate for incremental costs to the district. Mutual aid, correcting misconceptions regarding response times. Mutual aid considerations. The letter mentioned existing mutual aid agreements. While these reciprocal agreements are vital for large-scale emergencies, they are voluntary and dependent on the availability of neighboring departments. Mutual aid is not a guaranteed substitute for local capacity, as neighboring resources may already be committed to emergencies within their own jurisdiction at the time of a request. Fire suppression systems. The fire district is encouraged by the developer's commitment to installing sprinkler systems in additional buildings within the town center business plan. Sprinklers are a proven life safety investment that reduces fire-related fatalities and property damage, and we appreciate this contribution to the safety of future residents. Thank you for your time and for including these points in the public record. Respectfully, Anthony W. Champion, Chief of the Grange Fire District. So the reason I read it last month and the reason I read this month is we're working on this. And it's a huge task, but we are making progress on it.
Chairman, if I may, I just think it's important to note for the record that you did read that because you wish to. The
Yes.
letter had essentially demanded. That is not something any consultant or member of the public or the fire district can make a demand of the board. You did so because it was your choice. I just want to get that on the record so we don't have members of the public maybe following suit, writing in and asking for documents to be read out loud. So I just don't want to set a precedent on that.
Okay.
Secondly, I would note that the fire district stated that they wanted a response from the planning board to their letter. That's not how the process works. Consultant and outside agency comments are made to the planning board, and it is responded to in either the seeker documents or the applicant will indicate where it's responded in the record. So I just want to make that clear as well.
Okay. First item on our public hearings is 749 Properties, application of site plan for proposed repair, storage, and office for a racing bike organization located at 749 Freedom Plains Road in a commercial C zoning district containing .43 acres, grid number 6360-02-582874, owner 749 Properties LLC, licensed professional, Dace DeCosa. Hello.
Good evening. Brian Watts here from Dace DeCosa Engineering. First time user of this interface here, so bear with me. I'm looking for my first plan.
Is it under files?
Oh, here. Review memo. There we go. I have quite a few agenda items. I hope I get better at this as I go. That's not 749. Did I miss it? Files, 749. Well, as I start, 749 Freedom Plains Road. It's a red building, existing, used to be a sign facility. It is in front of Duchess Rec. The applicant is seeking to take the existing building, convert it into motorcycle repair. All repair will be located inside, the building. Part of the improvements include adding a second story for mezzanine storage for parts incidental to the operations. His operations include lots of travel with trailers, so the property will be leveled in the back, expanding parking, retaining wall so that he has a place to store the trailers. There may be a small future retail element in the very front of the building related to the racing team and his nonprofit, which is associated with his motorcycle operation. On-site septic, the current one will be retained. We've got Board of Health approval for a replacement if required.
Keep scrolling down, I think you'll get some plans set.
All of the stormwater is to civil. That looks like it could be maybe it.
Yeah, I opened it on my computer, that's the right one.
I'm gonna go too fast. So again, this is the existing building, existing impervious parking area, driveway into the back. This is the little parking area in the front. We will be, again, renovating that building. The footprint will not change. The garage doors are located in the back. There's a door in the front, on the sides. He will include a retaining wall at the perimeter of the property. We have permission from Duchess Rec property to enter their property to help facilitate construction. Proposed replacement septic system will use central water. New impervious will be directed to an on-site chamber detention system. Any overflows will discharge on the other side of the wall into the existing swale that goes on the driveway culvert. That's where the runoff from the site goes now. We will make improvements to that swale and the inlet to just make sure everything's appropriate, non-erosive velocities in conformance with the basic SWIP as required. Lighting limited to on the building, one in the rear. I don't know if we can show architecturals on this, if anyone's interested in the... I'm trying to get back to the parent menu here. How do I do that? Oh, okay, that opens it up as this. Okay. Port, drainage.
You're teaching everyone how to use it.
He's going too fast, so he confuses us all the time.
It's going to be a pretty building. I'd love to show you a picture of it. Another page. Oh, page 104. Engineering reviews. Special use, total civil set.
While you look for that, I have a quick question with regard to storm drainage.
Yes.
If you're increasing the the impervious surfaces, and you're collecting the stormwater in an underground facility, are you just directing the drainage, or are we retaining it and recharging the site?
We will retain and recharge the site to the extent possible. The soils there are not good,
Okay.
so there's not a lot of opportunity for absorption. When we designed the system, we didn't take any credit for that, so anything above and beyond nothing is just icing on top. And it'll be a controlled discharge through a smaller pipe
Okay.
so we won't have just this deluge of water coming down the site. It'll be controlled access, and any impoundment that occurs will occur on our site and our chambers under the parking. You won't ever see it.
Thank you.
They've done a full report, they've done the physical testing. What they have, their report and testing.
I had it?
Is reflected in their system design. And we've gone through it, and we're satisfied with the way they say it.
Thank you.
December 24th, you saw it. High wall section, that is, again, the wall section, so the wall in the back is about 16-ish feet tall. In the back, there's going to be a chain link fence on the top for safety purposes. It tapers as it comes up to the site. The site dives into the back. Dates submitted. I'm bound to determine to find the architecturals here. Red rock. Oh, we could show. For purposes, most of the visual, the stone, most of it is retained in the back section facing Dutchess Rex. So most of what you see on the, you won't see the tall section from the road. You're going to see it as it expands. Like if you were going down Dutchess Rex driveway, it'll get taller as you go down into Dutchess Rex site. Zoning, application.
And I realize it would be nice to see them, but the board has seen them before, and the record would suggest that you kind of worked through them, you had to make some changes in terms of materials and appearance, and that when they finally ended up, the record seems to reflect that you were generally accepted, except the elevations were generally acceptable to you.
That is a segmental block retaining wall?
Yes.
Is that a gravity design, or is it a geogrid?
Geogrid for the tall sections, and as it tapers down, we don't need the geogrid to the extent that you do it to 16 feet. They're big, heavy blocks.
I know.
So up until about 6 feet, we don't actually need any reinforcements, even with the soil totally saturated at its heaviest state.
How deep is the geogrid? How wide?
I believe it was 10 feet at its largest section, which would be in the rear.
And the way it's designed, they've designed it such that it's at the lower elevations, and then as you go up, so there's no interference with the Cultec chambers, and there's no interference with the septic at the back. We went through that, and Mr. Day had to revisit that a little bit, so they changed some of the things in the design of the wall. They've added but there is no interference, and that is demonstrated in one of the drawings they have. I realized where you were going, because Randy had the same, Mr. Aldridge had the same concern. But they've also put an under drain behind that wall so that you don't get a buildup of hydrostatic pressure against the backside. That goes down the wall and discharges to that same swale. So everything kind of relieves itself, if you will.
Okay.
And they're much smaller pipes, so it's not like overwhelming the off-site drainage.
So again, this is the front of the building. This is what's facing Freedom Plains Road. This is the rear elevation with those garage doors. This is the side facing Duchess Rec. So when you drive down, you'll be coming down into you'll be driving across, but the wall will start up here and pick up the grade on the lower Duchess Rec grade. So
The bottom left is what's facing west? Is that?
excuse me, this is the side. This is an existing little wall that's holding up right between the, it's about right here. There's already a little bit of a grade dip.
That's good?
You found it.
Congratulations.
I know. John Summer, I think,
Do
was
it
my
again.
indication to hurry, move it along.
All right,
So,
you're all set? Okay, before we open the public hearing, I'd just like to read some ground rules that'll go for both of our public hearings tonight. All members of the public wishing to speak will have the opportunity to do so. Each speaker must come to the microphone, and we ask that you state your name and address for the record. All public comments and questions shall be directed to the board and not to the applicant. There will be no dialogue or back and forth between members of the public and the applicant. The applicant will need to respond to comments in writing to the satisfaction of the planning board. Comments and questions shall be respectful, on topic, and to the point. If a comment has already been stated, it will need to be addressed by the applicant. There is no need to repeat previous comments. All letters and emails submitted have been or will be shared with the planning board and be a part of the official record. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing for 749 properties?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Is there anyone from the public who would like to comment on the 749 properties? I'll ask, oh, sure.
Susan KV, South Cross Road, LaGrangeville. I just have a couple of questions. Is this a going concern now, this 749?
Yes,
Okay. And do you know the name of that going concern?
they're there now.
Okay. Oh, there.
The-
Got it, okay.
Yeah.
So it also looked to me like the building was 3 stories? Is that just an optical illusion?
You can answer, short answer, go ahead. 2-story.
It's 2 stories with just like a dormer on top for architectural. Nice light up there on the floor.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public who would like to comment on 749 properties? Motion to close the public hearing.
Motion made.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So you can come back up. Rebecca, this resolution of site plan approval has highlighted.
Yes, so you do have some seeker, a part 3.
No.
Oh,
You moved.
I went too fast, you got comments?
Actually, you've opened and closed the public hearing. Both Megan and I have reviewed where we are. Megan's comments have been substantially resolved. And our comments, to be quite honest with you, are more housekeeping and quality control, making sure everything reads properly. But Megan has kindly drafted a resolution of site plan approval for this, and you're right, there are a couple highlighted items.
Yes.
The item on the first page is, which says, at which time there were no comments from the public. There was a comment from the public. I would deem the fact that I think it got addressed. I would just make the modification that there were no substantive comments from the public. I'm not diminishing your comment.
it was very funny.
And then the next one is, I do have an outstanding memo, which is dated May 13th, 2026, which I would recommend adding in that second blank. And then, unfortunately, I have to be that guy. I would also ask that they add one more condition. As Mr. Watts indicated, and did show you a map. The owner of Dutchess Rec has agreed to allow construction from his property. In order to make sure that that is properly followed through, we have asked, and both the applicant and Dutchess Rec have consented to a temporary construction easement and then a long-term storm drainage maintenance agreement, so that if there's any issues related to storm drainage, they have the necessary ability to go in and make the repairs. So other than that, I believe this application is at a point where you could consider adopting this resolution, Mr. Chair.
I realized I had my documents mixed up. This one is a type 2.
That's fine. I was organizing mine while he was,
Yes, so I proposed that the language regarding the easement be, the applicant shall submit a proposed temporary construction easement and maintenance easement for work along the property boundary for the wall and drainage improvements for review and approval by the town's planning board attorney.
Yes.
So that will be new condition number 3. Number 4 will move down, and in the final paragraph, it'll indicate that the applicant is responsible for submitting proof of satisfying conditions 1 through 3, instead of 1 through 2.
everybody had a chance to look at it? You okay? Motion to adopt the resolution for site plan approval.
As stipulated? Yes.
Yes. Motion?
Made.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. I'm going to try to get a head start on the next one.
Yeah, don't go too far.
Next one.
Rebecca, the last time we met about that property, you had to formalize the agreement between the two properties?
So that's
That
what
was all done.
that's a condition, and they'll submit it for my review and then take it to the neighboring properties.
Next item on our agenda, Arlington Estates, application for a 3-lot subdivision of a 13.55 acre property located on Stringham Road, Knoxham Road, and Kinkead Lane in the residential flexible density RFD zoning district, grid number 6459-01-373992, owner Mid Hudson Development, licensed professional Dave Stacoza. Hello.
Good evening. Brian Watts here again. Uh-oh. Sensitive mouse. Here we go. Site plan. Oh. Files. We're looking for... That's probably it. Yes, so the project is a proposed 3-lot subdivision at the at the corner triangle that where Kinkead, Stringham, and Knoxon Road intersect. This is an existing parcel built with a house, already developed. The applicant is seeking 3 lots, 2 of which come off of Kinkead, 1 of comes off of Stringham.
That's an old map, by the way, Brian.
Oh, oh, you're right, it is. I recognize. Yeah.
Septic stated 4/30/41/2026. down. Yeah, how that total civil set?
That was the one I just had up.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Space. Yeah, where the heck are we here? The bottom here somewhere?
We'll try the next page.
Yeah. Can't be it, can it?
I think there's one after that. That's better.
So again, 3 lots, 2 off of Kincaid, 1 off of Stringham. The driveway locations were approved by the Highway Department. The ones on Kincaid will be tilted inwards, so any runoff from these driveways will drain to this side. We'll create a low spot at the base of the driveway to collect stormwater, on-site septic. The same with this driveway, low spot for stormwater collection here. All the runoff will flow into this area. We have no zoning variances required. As we saw in the first iteration, we prefer to have the house lower, but this is where we meet zoning. The shaded areas are steep slopes, so the zoning box has to be out of steep slope areas. This driveway also has a low spot for water to drain into. There will be a dedication of land along Kincaid to the Highway Department, so they have the 25-foot offset from the center line of the road. There is water that goes up Stringham Road, but they don't have capacity to serve us, so the Board of Health has allowed us to install individual wells. They require a test well for these 3 lots, so the applicant had started to clear in the spot to get to put in the test well where the Board of Health has approved it, so we can ensure that all 3 of these will have sufficient water as required. I think that's the highlights here. Apologize if I missed anything, or if the board has any other comments they want to point out, I can maybe try to address them.
I can jump in a little bit.
Go ahead.
Couple things. You recall the last meeting, there was a stop work order issued because they started disturbing this location on Lot 3 without involving anyone. That has subsequently been remedied. The Board of Health has issued an email which basically said, yeah, we identified Lot 3, that's where we want the well. We've gone through, both Ken and John Wisman and myself looked at it. They just did enough to get into, be able to drill the well. So the stop work order was lifted by the building department. And I have confirmation of that. I think Sandy was copied on it, but it has been lifted. So, and on top of that, if you recall, we had a public hearing once before. And it was a dry run, one shall say, because this is a subdivision, and before you open the formal public hearing on a subdivision, you must have reached a determination on seeker. And if you recall, at that time, there were a couple issues open. The first issue dealt with historic preservation. They had an archaeologist do some research, and we had not received a sign-off from SHPO. We have subsequently received a letter from SHPO saying there's no interest and no impact. So that issue has been put to bed. There was also an issue raised. They had a jurisdictional determination. If you remember, there was some potential wetlands across the street, actually across Knoxon Road, where they thought they might be impacting this site. Days to Costa did a lot of work with the DEC, and DEC actually got out there, and they walked the site, and they made a determination that there is, they issued a revised letter of no jurisdiction, so there's no wetland impacts. So that kind of closed another box. Your CAC had issued some comments. Both of those have been some of those have been addressed by the DEC letter and the SHPO letter. The last one was the potential for Blanding's turtles. So what they've done is they've treated this site as if Blanding turtles are a potential impact. So they have incorporated typical Blanding's turtles impact, encounter plans, if you will, as part of this subdivision. So that there was no formal requirement, but because they exist in the reasonable proximity, they took that upon themselves to include that in the plan set. Having said that, and looking that you may consider opening the public hearing tonight, Megan, before she left, actually prepared a EA full environmental assessment form, basically part 3, which basically states that the project will not result in a significant adverse impact on the environment, and a negative environmental impact statement will not be prepared. So I would ask that the first step tonight would be for the planning board to accept that part 3 as prepared by Megan.
And after that, we have a written negative declaration. We'll go through after that vote.
And then the public hearing.
And then the public
Correct.
hearing. Yes, Mr. Chair.
All right, so let's do these two. Which one you want to do first?
You have to do part 3, evaluation of the magnitude and importance of impacts. You have to accept that as the planning board's document and authorize the chair to sign.
Should we read some of this like Megan usually does, or?
If you like, I can go through the written negative declaration, and you could vote on both documents at the same time, if that makes you
Yeah,
feel comfortable.
I think,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'll skip through the description of the action and location and get into the reasons for supporting this determination. The planning board makes the following findings supporting and substantiating this determination. 1, the proposed action will involve 1.78 acres of disturbance on the site. At the completion of site work, approximately 0.35 acres of the site will be impervious, with the remaining 1.43 acres of disturbance to consist of pervious areas such as lawn landscape area. The remaining 11.77 acres of the site will remain wooded and wetland area. A stormwater pollution prevention plan has been submitted. The proposed site development has been situated to maintain existing drainage patterns where possible. The plans include provisions for water quantity and quality control in conformance with current stormwater regulations. The stormwater management measures indicated on the plans and incorporated into the project design include both temporary and permanent measures to address water quantity, quality, and erosion and sediment control. Also, areas disturbed for development that do not contain buildings and other impervious area will be stabilized as lawn and landscape areas, which further prevents sedimentation. Properly implemented, the proposed measures reduce the likelihood of any adverse impact occurring. The project is flagged to potentially contain NYS DEC regulated freshwater wetlands. The DEC issued a letter of no jurisdiction on March 30th, 2026. No wetland encroachment is proposed. The driveway for proposed lot 3 will cross a 500-year floodplain. However, no structures are proposed in this area. While the site has been flagged as potentially sensitive for Blanding turtles and Indiana bat populations, clearing will be limited to the period between November 1st to March 31st. While the site was flagged as potentially containing historic or archaeological resources, the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation issued a letter on February 25th, 2026, stating that no properties, including archaeological and/or historic resources listed in or eligible for the New York State and National Register of Historic Places, will be impacted by this project. While the proposed construction could result in increased noise on the site during the construction period, noise levels are anticipated to return to current levels post-construction. Number 7, the proposed action is not anticipated to result in any impacts on geological features, air, agricultural, open spaces and recreation and energy resources, or transportation systems, human health, community plans, or community character. So having read that, if the board is comfortable with both documents based upon the secret review you've undertaken in this matter, I would ask that you accept the Part 3 and adopt the negative declaration.
Everyone okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So motion for both?
You can do it together.
Okay. You want to repeat that one more time and then I'll do the motion?
So the motion to accept the EAF Part 3 and to adopt the negative declaration as drafted.
Motion?
Motion made.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. I'm going to sign it.
You are free, Mr. Chair, if you so desired, to open the public hearing.
Okay. Sandy, you want me to sign this right now? Or, all right. First, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public who would like to comment on Arlington Estates? And I have 2 letters that will enter into the record. Is there anyone from the public who would like to talk or comment on Arlington Estates?
Children to 20 Vincent Road. The only questions I have have to do with the drainage from this development. Since the attached development just down at a lower range has a higher water table, I'm concerned with the kinds of protection they're making so that the water from there that they're adding to the area, is it detrimental to the new, to the old development? Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. That's my question.
All right, very good. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to comment on Arlington Estates? Sure.
Hi,
Hello.
Michael D. Strange, 13 Exeter Road. I also live in the adjacent neighborhood like Mr. Luna was speaking about, and concerns myself with the removal of land clearing, the trees, of them soaking up water, and our water table in that area is very high. So if you take these trees away, they clear a substantial amount of land that they own. How is that going to impact the water table in where I live below them?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public who would like to comment on Arlington Estates?
Glenn Wilson, 12 Exeter Road. I spoke to you guys at the meeting that wasn't in January. Same concerns, the flooding issues that we have the hydrostatic water. They did answer one of our, issues, which was they said they were going to keep 256, I think, trees that are 8 inches. I don't know, they did that, this, whatever they put together, but I'm assuming they're going to clear just about everything else that's below that, that's smaller than that. And those trees, the big ones that they're talking about, because they've been choked out from the bottom from the smaller trees, those trees aren't going to last long. I mean, once you take everything else out, they only have foliage up high. Our big concern is we're hoping that you guys look out for us to say, we have a huge hydrostatic water problem. And we know that little forest there absorbs a lot. Probably when we had, since January, we had the big melt, and basically everybody in the neighborhood was pumping, some longer than others. When that's all gone and you start putting, grass in, and then let's say the new owners come in and they say, we want a larger yard. Get rid of more trees, get rid of, expand, we want a better view. What is that going to do to us? So we're kind of asking you guys to look out for us and say, maybe a conservation easement that says, you can't just come in and start, you know what I mean, and then clear cut and take out a bazillion trees and leave us all hanging down below with the problems that we already have and we've had for years. So, you know, we're an old neighborhood. We've been around since 1960. We're hoping that whatever happens there, that you guys kind of look out for us and, you know, make sure, like I said, a conservation easement, something that stops them from, even the new owners. I get it that the builder said 200 and we're going to keep 256 of the 266 8-inch trees. What's going to happen when the new owners come in? They could just come in and say, we want a better view, we want more lawn. That's basically what we're looking for. All right, appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hello.
Darlene Callahan. Actually, I'm in agreement with everything he just said. I live right across the street directly across the street from this proposed, what you're saying here, and I'm not even sure of what the buildings look like. When was that all gone over?
They've submitted it. They're on we've started a new system where you can actually go on and look at it.
Oh, I thought that was something that would be shown tonight, like the gentleman before me with Duchess Rec. You don't go over what supposed to be across the, you know, on the road there?
Do you have a picture of a house that you could show her on this
Is
property?
it 2-story? How many bedrooms?
Ordinarily, you wouldn't have
Okay,
a single, there are what they are. There are house locations shown on the drawing.
okay,
But typically, architectural submittals on single-family residential are not a typical requirement or a typical submission, so.
okay.
And how many bedrooms are there?
Could you get a little closer to mine, so can you?
Hey.
How many bedrooms are they?
The number of bedrooms is on the drawings. I think they're all programmed for 4 bedrooms. I don't know, 2 4-bedroom and 1 3-bedroom, I believe.
They'll have to answer any question you ask tonight.
Okay.
So they're gonna answer to whatever you ask. Number of
So
bedrooms.
was this already passed, or,
No, it's in the process.
so what's the next step after tonight? Because I can tell you right now, I'm not in favor of this. I vote against it.
Okay, the next step would be, they're
The
gonna,
flooding and everything else, and the, you know, the Knoxon Road is a very dangerous road. There'll be more traffic. Everything is, this is a bad spot for this. Very bad.
yeah, the next step will be that they'll answer these questions. And then to continue to follow this project, you can look on the LaGrange website for planning board meetings and agendas and minutes. The Munico Lab, you can look at the documents.
When would the next meeting for this particular property be? And will I get a letter, because I'm a adjacent property?
You only get a letter for purposes of public hearing. So that's what's occurring this evening. So for future agendas, you need to watch the planning board agenda, because if they submit by next week's deadline, they might be on the June meeting, but it might be July, depending on what the
So
consultant
just, what do I look under?
So at the town of LaGrange, if you look for the agenda of the planning board, that's what's gonna be on each meeting. So it'll be posted about a week before the meeting? Yes.
Okay. How close to getting, voting against it are we at this
So if
point?
there's other questions, please come up, because it's very difficult to answer those being shouted from the audience. I'm sorry, what was the question?
When would the next, like, in the next meeting?
It all depends on when they make their next submission. We have deadlines for when people submit for a certain month. And applicants sometimes take 2 months to get back to comments and consultant comments.
Okay.
So we just don't know at this point.
So just going to, under the town of LaGrange, agenda?
For the
And
planning
then-
board agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Torrey Close, South Cross Road. Is this the only open hearing for this particular project? Or will there be one down the road?
Do you mean down the road at future dates?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is up to the planning board this evening. However, given the nature of the comments, I would expect that they likely feel it's probably able to be closed this evening, and this would be the only hearing. I do believe this had an earlier hearing, correct?
Earlier on official hearings, this
Yeah.
is the second. This is what's known as a preliminary subdivision hearing. If the answers that they receive are unsatisfactory or there are changes in the project as a consequence, for instance, you heard us say earlier that they were doing a test well. If there are, the answers to the planning board are unsatisfactory or there are changes in the subdivision as a consequence, they're going through the Board of Health approval process, the board reserves the right to conduct a second public hearing at final. But ordinarily, if they provide substantive answers, preliminary is usually the only one that occurs.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public who would like to comment on Arlington Estates? Motion to close public hearing.
Motion.
Yeah, second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
So going forward, Mr. Chair, there's nothing else for the board to do on this project this evening. The applicant should be provided with the written comments, and then we need a full package addressing all the comments that have been made in the public before we move forward.
And you have these two letters?
I don't have two, I think I have one. Comment.
Oh, from,
Grange Estate.
hold on. There's one on Unique Collab, I didn't. There's one, I don't think. They're both on there, I didn't. But I sent them.
I saw two copies of the Grange Estates one. I don't think I got a copy. This one, I got this one.
Now you have them both.
Yes.
You've got your work cut out for you, sir.
So you got two letters and 5 people spoke. Very good?
Very good.
Okay. Let's see here what I'm saying here. I think that's it for this. Right. Here, could you hand this to Sandy? All right, next, first item on our regular business, 1144 Route 55 amended site plan, application for the installation of electric vehicle charging stations located in the town center business TCB zoning district, 1.102 acres, grid number 6460-02-619920, owner MSFRE New York, licensed professional, Wood Hollow Contracting Corp. Hello.
Good evening. So our project is about to EV chargers in the area. About the comments that we have on the last meeting was referring to a couple of questions that we can answer. We're just waiting for the survey that they're already working on it. It's more about an pre-existing non-conforming use. Also, the 2% for the ADA that we are proposing here. Also for 1188. Oh, regarding the signing for the ADA spots, we provide the details in the page for the no parking anytime. That should be like pretty much where we fixing this project, but pretty much everything with the setbacks and the site plans, we're just waiting for the survey on this project. I don't know if you have extra questions about the project.
Yes, he addressed the comments in our letter, with the exception of we asked with respect to the emerald green, is that typically planted around the, something, just in terms of having typical planting for this type of what you do?
Yeah, so we are making a new, it's the same design for the landscaping, but we switched to Spartan. Spartan is a type of tree that is deer. Yeah, that was the regarding the try to control the deers on the area, like in the electric equipment. So we switched to a Spartan that is deer proof.
Okay. One of the outstanding questions we have for your emergency response plan. I'm not sure if you provided a plan for your emergency response, and if you did, do you mind just going over that plan for the public?
Yeah, so that was something that was regarding the fire department, or yeah. So we talk. I'm not sure with Mary is the person that is in charge of that in our office, but she sent an email that she got a response that that's not applicable for this project.
So could you provide that response from the fire department?
No, this was for the Granville office.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
That was from the office, from the town office. That was not applicable. I think that was number 8 or 9 or 7. We got the email.
So we had a set of comments at the end asking for a fire emergency response plan or procedure. It would just be what would be your plan?
Oh no, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's on the narrative. We provide a space about that will be like the emergency plan. Also the anti-vandalism for the equipment that we include in the narrative. That's in the new narrative.
Right. So I'm saying if you don't mind just going over that
Yep.
to the public.
Yes. Sorry. Okay, the safety, emergency response, and environment considerations. The proposed EV charging system is designed to operate on minimal environment impact while supporting transition toward clean transportations, alternatives, and reduce vehicles emissions. The installation has been designed with consideration for operation safety, emergency response, access, and compliance with the applicable fire and electrical safety requirements. All installations will comply with applicable electrical, building and fire protection code and requirements. Equipment will not generate significant noise, vibration, glare, or excessive lighting impacts. Electrical disconnects and shut-off equipment will remain clearly accessible to authorized person and emergency response. Existing emergency access site circulation will be maintained through the property. Protective bollards and equipment clearance will be provided to improve operational safety. If existing site equipment or utilities require relocation, such work will be complete in accordance with applicable safety standards and agency requirements. Woodhuller Energy Partners will be coordinated with the local fire department regarding emergency access, emergency shut-offs, locations, and any additional emergency response consideration identified during the agency reviews. The EV charging equipment incorporates integrated safety system intended to automatically interrupt charging operations in the event or fault conditions or abnormal operation activity.
Perfect. The last comment I had was photographs or specifications of the system that you're proposing to install. I know you had a site plan, but there were no pictures of what the actual product
or structure gonna look like?
Yeah.
So we're hoping that you can provide us with those for the photo.
Okay, here's the charger on the power cabinet over here. This is the charger, and this is the power cabinet. We can provide more photographs in case you need like details for the.
If this is adequate to the board, I think, this is fine. I just wanted the public to have an understanding of what these will look like.
I got an
Not just a generic,
yeah.
what it would look like, but the specifications of the one that you're proposing to start here.
We got something more like a diagram, like, or you want something more like this is gonna be like the Padman transformer, the mirror disconnect, the main service disconnect, the power cabinet, and the chargers. I got an elevation that you can see more in the area, like with the sign.
So that's perfect, yes.
So this is the enter, this is the sign of the gas station. We got the Padman transformer, the signs, the chargers, the power cabinet, and the other charger with the 88. Sorry, it's hard to.
Just so the public knows, this is the Valero gas station with Hudson Valley Credit Union next door. So if you were in the gas station looking at Hudson Valley Credit Union, this is what you're going to be looking at along the edge of the parking lot. Any questions?
I'm not sure if it was this project or the one,
The golf.
yeah. But there was a concern with tampering with the.
Yeah.
This,
The other project we have, it's on here, I think, we're gonna, yeah, that electrical cabinet is in the rear of the building, and God forbid a kid ever got into there. This isn't something you stick your finger in an outlet and go, ow. You'll be dead if you go in that cabinet.
So I make in the narrative for the other project that was regarding this. So it's like a special equipment, like it's recovered by a couple layers. It's not like people just can touch and it's gonna be it's gonna have electricity straight from the equipment. So it's like I can read what I have in my narrative about regarding that question.
I just want to make sure that it's addressed.
Yep, it is.
I see the bollards. That one cabinet doesn't have bollards in front of it though.
Bollards are more like for protection in case a car just go in front of it. So it's gonna be hard for a car go to the power cabinet if they have them in front of the chargers.
Right.
On the signs, 2 chargers, dual ports, on 688 Freedom Plains. The only difference with the other project is we changed we're not using power cabinets in this ones. There are the ones that are built on one together, so they don't need power cabinets, but they're gonna need a. Yeah, we can locate the bollards over there too.
Yeah, you have bollards on the one on the left there.
Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the transformer.
Yeah.
Should they be on the curb or in the middle of the yard? Does it matter? For aesthetics. From the elevation, it looks fine, but just.
Are some of them on the curb line and then some are set back?
Yeah, you got the ones for the actual charger.
Right.
That's on the curb because of the proximity of the charger. And maybe you just keep them all in line.
Like this one's right here and the transformer ones?
Yeah, keep them on the curb.
Okay.
We have to look at our code because the state and the county put them in the center of Top's parking lot, and then Tesla added them on the edge of the Top's parking lot.
You have to be like 3 feet separate from the equipment, like
Right.
more like aesthetics. If you want to have it like a line, but it have to be separate, like 3 feet away.
They have to be at least 3 feet,
Yep.
3
but
feet.
they can be more. They can be farther away.
Yeah, it could be farther and more.
Yeah, I'm going to take a look at the ones that are in the town now. This is all relatively new to me. I'm an old timer, so I'm thinking that we're going to start having these all over the town. We need to look at all of them.
So if you put the bollards right where it says EV charging sign, the typical ones, yeah, the
Right
one
here?
in front of that, below it, yeah, in the middle of those lots.
Like right here.
Yeah, but in line with the other 4.
Oh, you mean like,
No, I'm sorry. Those stations, yep. See how
Yep.
there's 2 in front?
yes,
Yeah, keep them all in line.
like you mean this 4 here in the curve?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if it's possible.
More than that, I think we need a clearance just for the transformer because they need to do maintenance. That's why this 2 on front is removable.
Okay.
But that will be more because of
And then
the
in front of the other part, to the right, between the 2 stations.
right
Yeah,
here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that will not be a problem too. That's more accessible way that we don't locate it too close to the sidewalk. That's why we're trying to keep a distance between the equipment and the parking. So sometimes people don't hit by mistake, they don't try to go that far. But if it's a line on the sidewalk, it's gonna hit the car.
Right. Oh, the bumper will go.
Yep. Exactly.
Pull it right in there.
So we have no significant comments outstanding. There are some minor comments that needs to be addressed, but I believe the board can schedule them for a subsequent meeting for final approval if you're comfortable with that. But our comments that are outstanding are not significant, and the applicant has agreed to address them. I believe that's the time for that meeting.
Schedule for public.
Not a public hearing, for final approval, for site plan approval. It can be a public hearing if you believe additional public hearings are required, but we have no further significant comments. So if the board is comfortable, you can schedule them for final approval.
Probably should have public hearing.
So tonight would be a public hearing. I don't think it's been advertised.
No, we have to, yeah.
We need to have one?
Okay, so the next meeting needs to be a public hearing, and then subsequent to that, depending on what happens. then
Yes.
we'll schedule for final approval.
So,
Why do we need a public hearing?
as I believe it's a change to the site plan.
So site plan development approvals require public hearings. It doesn't have to be 10 public hearings, it could just be 1, but at least 1 public hearing is required.
Right.
So I thought tonight was a public hearing, but seeing as it isn't, there needs to be a public hearing subsequent to this meeting. And then that could also be your final approval night, depending on the comments and conversations at that time.
All right, motion for public hearing, June 18th.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Yeah, so June 18th, we'll have a public hearing, and then we'll see what comes from that. Any
So the
other?
only question is just about those bollards and where they have to be placed, just for the sake of this, and where it can line up with aesthetically. But other than that, everything looks fine. Seemed to hit everything else.
Should I present the other project?
You have anything else to say on this project?
I don't have any other comments.
Okay.
No, he addressed the elements on the letter and verbally committed to addressing the comments in the next submission, so.
Okay, next item on our agenda, 688 Freedom Plains Road, amended site plan, application for the installation of electric vehicle charging stations located in the commercial C zoning district, 1.2 acres, grid number 6360-01-439877, owner Port Washington Boulevard LLC, licensed professional, Wood Hollow Contracting. Hello again. This is the Gulf Station next to Apple Valley Shopping Center.
So the project, we're gonna install 2 chargers, dual ports on 688 Freedom Plains. The only difference with the other project is we changed we're not using power cabinets in this ones. There are the ones that are built on one together, so they don't need power cabinet, but they're gonna need a transformer. The questions that they have on this project was something regarding the pre-existing non-conforming use that was approved before. We already attached the new survey on this project. Also, we checked the 2% on the ADA spot on the strip line that they're requiring with the elevation points. Also, with a sign detail about no parking anytime, we fixed that in the site plan too, and in the detail page. The only thing pending here from this project will be the wetlands for the wetlands document. We're working on that right now. Other than that, that will be. And also we add in the new narrative regarding the vandalism plan, and that will be another thing from this project.
So for this one, we're not as far advanced as the previous one. We are waiting the comments from New York State DEC before I would recommend being scheduled for a public hearing. So I'd say let us get that first before scheduling for a public hearing for this one. So until then, I think the board has no action to be done tonight. We're going to listen to the applicant and waiting on that correspondence.
The wetland document?
It's the jurisdictional determination that you can just submit to New York State DEC. This site has informational wetlands on the back side, identified on the New York State DEC wetland network. So the jurisdictional determination is whether or not the DEC has jurisdiction over those wetlands, or whether those informational wetlands are not of concern to them. So they'll respond to you usually in 60 to 90 days after you make the request.
Yeah, they're working on that document right now.
So yeah, pending that document, I recommend that the board takes no action. Don't schedule for a public hearing until we have received that document that will guide how we move forward.
Very good. Any questions? No. Any questions?
No, sir.
Yeah, and to be clear, you're resubmitting with the spot elevations and the survey?
Yes, we got I have one question here. So this is more like, I think I saw, this is more like, no, like site plan with all the details. So we got the survey here. Oh, sorry, this is not the one, but we got 2 surveys, one with the actual site and one with the project. So we got right there all the elevations, but also I add on the construction plan all the points, like the 4 points, and all the pendings. So it's no more than the 2% that they require.
Correct, and that just is verified by putting those spot elevations on that site plan.
Yes.
To demonstrate that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
You're going to put the Gulf Station on there, right?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
The only reason is we have 2 gas stations by Apple Valley Shopping Center. I think we're okay. You have anything else?
No, for now.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda, 94 Ridgeline Drive, application for an accessory apartment located at 94 Ridgeline Drive in the residential Frank Slate RFS zoning district, 1.63 acres, grid number 6361-01-200564, applicant Peter Evola. Hello.
Good evening, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Well, thanks. So our proposal is to add a basement apartment to our existing one-family home for multi-generational use. That's the short of it. We had submitted some initial drawings. I don't know where to, files, I don't know what we have here.
Sandy will help you. Sandy will help
Oh,
you.
there we go. I'll make that bigger for you guys, but this is the proposed here. This is already an existing finished basement. So the plan is, this is the rear entrance here. Going to create a entryway that will be into the kitchen. It's creating a wall here, so there'll be an egress door and an egress window in the bedroom rather. This will be bedroom, this will be kitchen, this will be living room, dining room, and this is an existing bathroom.
Very good. Any questions? I looked at it from Google Earth and I could see the back deck and the set of stairs.
Correct. There's an existing deck on top of this, I guess it would extend
Right.
up here, would be the existing deck. This is, the driveway's on this side, so access will be down the back side yard,
Right.
underneath and in. It's a walkout basement, but it obviously needs egress.
On septic or sewer?
Sewer.
Sewer.
Also, the driveway is wide enough for a car, no street parking. There'll be an additional one car on our driveway.
So it's one of our comments, you don't have a septic system inside.
It's sewer.
It's sewer, okay, it wasn't clear.
The zone permits the additional apartment?
For the first time meeting you guys, not yet. We haven't, this is initial drawing to see if this is a feasible thing to do, and then we'll go forward from there.
Hold on, I think this one had a determination.
Yeah, so the proposed project
Yeah.
is R, and then zoning district, which permits review by the special use permit. As you know, the applicant does not require a site development plan permit. However, the applicant does not provide a special use narrative to support how your project is in compliance with.
I was not aware I needed to supply one.
Right, so that is captured in our letter here that you need to provide a correspondence that pertains to the town's special use permit for.
I don't understand.
This is a list of questions to ensure that you are.
Wasn't that, the special use permit application form was submitted?
Well, there's a narrative that is also required, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's all filled out here. Sarah Davis made her determination that it's okay.
Well, if you don't mind, just providing us with a narrative, the narrative should respond to 6 questions that the town should have regarding the location and size and the nature of it.
Sure. If you provide me with the questions, I'll gladly provide your narrative.
Yeah, I think you did it all. It's here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it just needs to be expanded upon?
We're gonna let you know.
So I think what was provided was a response regarding accessory apartments.
Right.
He did provide that response.
Right.
I believe that's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
What he has not provided is the special use narrative response.
Okay.
If you'd like, I can provide you with the specific location of where you can install it.
Sure.
But it's also captured in the letter that you have provided.
Okay. I was not in receipt of a letter from MJ prior to looking at it on this computer. So I was unaware that that needed to be prepared for this meeting. Okay.
Yeah, the new administration and the new town board has chosen new engineering consultant and attorneys. And we're in a period where we're transitioning. So there'll be some of this. We apologize.
If you provide me what you
Yes.
need, I will get you the response.
I'm just looking through my list. Let's see. Yeah, the parking, he'll have to justify, right? Yeah. Yeah. in that special use narrative, there'll be things like notifying 911 of an additional residence, so the fire department knows whether to go in the front door or around the back. Parking requirements, I believe it's like 2 additional cars. This will have a public hearing, I believe.
Yes.
Right. And then I have motion type 2 seeker. With,
Yes, the board is comfortable with the current request. The board has the option to make a motion and resolution to specify the type 2 seeker action, and that will conclude the seeker review process, or environmental review process.
I'm okay with it. You okay?
There's really no site disturbance.
No, everything's interior, right? No external disturbance.
Correct. Except that you'll have to show them some additional parking, some.
Yeah, in the, what is that, the special use narrative?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is in section 240-10 of the town code.
Yeah, Aisha or Sandy will,
Yeah, if you could
Yeah.
craft an email to me, I'll gladly respond and provide you what you need.
And it's just a one-bedroom,
1 bedroom to provide multi-generational.
pretty simple, straightforward, right?
Straightforward, 1 bedroom,
right.
1 extra car on the driveway.
I'm okay with seeker, you guys?
That's fine.
You're okay?
That's fine, yep.
Motion to grant type 2 seeker.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The special use narrative is at the, towards the bottom of the document, page 4D. That's what you're looking for? And is that separate than the narrative detailing the work?
Are you looking at mine, please?
Yep.
Are you looking at the application or MJ's comment?
MJ's comments.
I see it on page 3.
So
It's
in-
number 8.
Yes, my MJ letter is number 8, page 3, and it has 6 items, regarding location, parking.
So essentially, it's the 6 items that have to be satisfied for any special use permit to be issued by this board. General questions of the location of the use. So you do your best to do the responses, and when the board does its resolution, it'll obviously add to it as it feels appropriate.
Sure. Yeah, that's everything on my list. You have anything else? Anybody?
Yeah, I believe the board can schedule for a public hearing. I think this application is pretty straightforward, pending the response to the narrative. Nonetheless, I think it's pretty straightforward. So we could schedule a public hearing for that next meeting.
Everybody okay?
Yes.
Motion to schedule public hearing for June 18th.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, public hearings, June 18th.
Okay.
So you have some homework to do?
Got homework. Love homework.
Yeah.
Especially time this end of the school year. All right, thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda, Arthur'sburg Heights Site Plan Special Use Permit Ridgeline Wetlands Disturbance. Application to construct a single-family home in the Ridgeline Overlay District located on Beaver Road in the residential low-density RLD zoning district containing 5.2 acres, grid number 6559-02-778661, applicant Mid-Hudson Development Corporation, licensed professional Day Stacosa. Welcome back.
Good evening. Brian Watts here again, Day Stacosa. We're here before you to seek approval of the submitted bond and to be referred to the town board for their approval of said bond. We were waiting for ZBA approval, which we're anticipating on June 1st. That was one of, but prior to getting that approval, we needed secret close, which you guys have done. And I'm missing one item here on that list. Oh, that might have been it, actually. John, I'm forgetting something.
No, you're pretty much right on. Basically, we had comments. If you recall, this is the lot with a lot of fill where they have to remove the fill and they have to restore the wetlands and do some restoration work. The board was inclined to require a bond. Brian and I have gone back and forth. We've identified a bond amount, and we have agreed on a bond amount of $88,500 to be posted to cover the remedial work they need to do and the landscaping. Any bond will need to be put in conjunction with a performance agreement. So what we are looking for tonight is A, accept the bond amount, and B, authorize the planning board attorney to prepare the necessary performance agreement that bond will support, and then once you're satisfied with that, refer it to the town board for their acceptance. It's premature to do anything else because they do require a ZBA variance, and they have not yet appeared before them. And until such time, there's nothing you can do other than address this bond issue.
What is the nature of the fill?
Mostly some form of construction debris, the best we can tell. It's largely concrete, very little asphalt, but it looks like somebody picked up a bunch of sidewalk someplace, rolled it around in the truck and dumped it. So it's a pretty substantial amount. A couple board members have been out there and seen it, but it's primarily what appears to be relatively clean construction debris.
No concern as to contamination?
There is a concern with contamination, and the plans that have been developed require them, once they get it removed, to test the soils that remain to make sure they meet New York State's residential quality, soil quality guidelines. So there is that built into the plan set.
And how many yards are we estimating of removal?
I want to say it's pretty close to 500 and some odd. It's a pretty substantial amount of fill, sir. I think 500 sounds reasonable, Randy?
Yeah. It's mostly clean fill, few big chunks of concrete.
So that's to be exported or moved
Yes.
on site?
It's got to be removed, and it's got to be, in putting together our bond, it's got to be taken off-site and disposed of properly. They do have, in their bond, they proposed on sending it to a place like Recycle Depot, so it would be, but we're not expecting to find anything out of the ordinary. It doesn't look that way. It's just they dumped it right in the edge of the wetlands and it kind of rolled down. There's a lot of work to clean it up. So that's the extent of what needs to be done tonight.
All right, so which one do you want to do first, the bond?
Accept the amount of $88,500.
Everyone okay with that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Motion to accept the bond, $88,500.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I don't have enough information.
I'll make this.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You want to abstain?
Yeah.
You can, yeah. So Mark will abstain from that one. Okay, that's the bond.
Next would be to authorize your planning board attorney to prepare a performance agreement that reflects the work necessary that would be covered by the bond.
Motion to authorize the attorney for the performance agreement.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, there's that one.
So that's all you can do tonight, Mr. Chair.
And then I have a note on here, ZBA maybe June 1st?
Yes, we're on the agenda, as far as I know.
Right. Okay, let's see. So we're okay on that one?
That's as far as you can go, so thank you
All
very
right,
much.
very good. Next item on our agenda, Amendola, 1189 Route 55, site plan, residential mixed use. Proposed construction of a three-story residential mixed-use building located at 1189 Route 55 in the Town Center Business TCB zoning district containing 1.19 acres, grid number 6460-02-734905, applicant Joseph Amendola, licensed professional, De Stokoza. Hello.
If you didn't know, my name is Brian Watts here on behalf of the applicant. Where is the most recent? So we've addressed, I think, a good portion of the comments we had. It's been a little while. We have a lot of regulatory approvals to get through, including Board of Health and DOT. We've made a submission to DOT, their permit track, so now that they now have the traffic impact study. We've addressed their comment letter and provided plan sheets to them, all uploaded for their review. We've not received anything back yet. It's been, I think, 4 or 5 weeks. It's a long process with them, with this new system. So I'll reach out and see where we are. Other than that, I don't have much of an update in the DOT realm. One of their comments was to have the surveyor verify the right-of-way because the original application didn't include the taking from when the roundabouts were installed. So that's been addressed. We no longer need a sidewalk easement because the sidewalk will be entirely within the right-of-way. So that eliminates that entire conundrum. The Board of Health, we've been working with the Board of Health. We've gone through the process with them. They are satisfied from a technical perspective with everything. They are pending a speedies permit issuance before they'll give us the actual approval. The speedies, we looked at that in March, and part of the process for that is the JD determination at the time. And we've started that process. I'm not sure we still have to do it because the JD determination law has been invalidated, I guess, in the courts. So we're going to...
DEC did issue guidance this week that you may want to look at about whether or not there are certain wetlands that they still find to be of unique concern. So you might want to just look at that.
If I recall, we don't have any wetlands on site, but it was just one of the procedural things that they require for their speedies, that any application has to have SHPO, CRIS, climate change application, and all those other things done. It was just the JD at the time took 90 days, so.
That could very well, I just heard
Yep.
your comment about the court, and
Yeah.
I just saw, alerts just went out this week that the DEC's issued. So if you don't have them on, you may not need to do anything, but I was just commenting.
So that's where we are with the speedies permit, is it trying to navigate the waters there with that. Once we have that in hand, my understanding is the Board of Health will issue a permit for that approval. So we've gone through, and I think we've addressed most of the comments. We have some quality control issues that we're drafting here and there we'll address. Other than that, we've submitted all of the preliminary easements required. So we're hopeful that tonight the board sees fit. There was no other comments from the planner outside of perhaps setting the public hearing, that we would be in a position to set a public hearing.
The only, you hit every one of my points. The only one I have a question about is, you're also waiting for fire department response.
We have not received any response.
Right. You touched on everyone. Board of Health, speedies, DOT. So we'll add the fire department to that. And then there's a water line you couldn't locate.
The surveyor was, as part of his request, was to locate the water line. He said he couldn't locate it. I didn't walk with him, so I can't tell you how hard he did or did not look. I couldn't tell you if
Right.
it was, I couldn't even tell you if it's plastic or not, or copper, if it's
This is the
anything.
This is the
Existing.
service line.
Existing service line.
Was that hooked up in the old building, or were they on well?
It's hooked up in the new building. The well was never abandoned, so that's part of the board's
Oh, okay.
application, is that has to be abandoned.
Right.
And the existing septic has to be abandoned.
So they gotta locate that curb stop, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they probably won't be able to locate it till they start cleaning up and taking down the old building, but,
Yeah, and someone finds it.
yeah. Let's hope they don't
Okay.
find it the hard way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and then, yeah, the last thing was Megan's schedule the public hearing.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, as Mr. Watts said, they did finally get back to DOT. If you notice, they've kind of changed, DOT's letting them stop at the adjacent road on the east end of the project. There's no crossing of that, the road there. So the sidewalk is going to terminate at the edge of their property. And then if ever gets developed on the other side of the road, it would be extended by others. Brian did indicate the sidewalk is now all in DOT right away. They do have easements to allow access to the properties in the back. The planning board attorney will need to make sure that language is satisfactory because there are common access and maintenance easements that need to be in place. There are a lot of, and I don't mean this negatively, there's a lot of nitpicking housekeeping items that have to kind of be resolved. These are very busy drawings, and there's a lot of things that don't fully get resolved. But having said that, substantively, there's nothing else left to do but to hold a public hearing. So my recommendation would echo Megan's, which would be for the board to schedule a public hearing at your next available meeting.
Can we do it at this one or wait till the next one?
No, you can schedule it tonight.
Tonight, yeah. Everyone okay with that? Mark,
Yes.
okay? Motion to set the public hearing for June 18th.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And that's all you can do this evening, sir.
Okay, public hearing, June 18th. You're doing good, by the way.
Better.
They pick on Brian and Stokoza a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian,
Being kind to you for the first time.
Brian, on a site visit one time, Brian left us a note nailed to a tree. I won't be
He
here.
hasn't lived it
And,
down.
and I was here at the meeting afterwards, and I had no idea.
Yeah,
I think it was the same time, Memorial Day weekend, he was away. Oh, yeah.
okay. Next item on our agenda, Stribe subdivision and special use permit Ridgeline. Application for subdivision to create 3 lots from the existing 2, located at 2464 Route 82 and 16 Waterbury Hill Road in the residential low-density RLD zoning district containing 41.071 acres, grid number 661-03-080-262, and 6561-04-944283. Owner Alexander Stribe, Marguerite Stribe, licensed professional, Dace DeCosa. Hello again.
State your name for the record.
For the record, I'm Brian Watts. So we're back before the board here. We've addressed some of the comment letters. Again, one of the items with this is, well, the other project as well as DOT. This is DOT right away. They have final say on that driveway. We've done the same thing. I did it the same time I did Amendola. Uploaded everything to the permit tracker they asked. I believe, you know, we've done some additional profiles that they required, showing all the different access. Somewhere in here is additional cross sections. Other than that, I think that's where we stand with Stribe. I'm going with Stribe. I apologize to Mr. Stribe if it's Stribe.
Mr. Chair, both Megan and I have a memo. Megan was kind enough to leave me with a note, probably the same note she left you.
I read what she left, but go ahead.
Well, this didn't appear, this hasn't appeared to you, before you since May of last year, so it's been a year. And at that time back then, if you recall, this is a pretty heavily wooded site, and there's a lot of, kind of trees, and they were gonna have somebody take a look at the tree inventory in the field and make some recommendations as to which trees should be saved and which should be removed, because there's a fairly substantial amount. I don't think that was accomplished in this submittal. That seems to be one of the things that the Bryans have missed. The other thing is, and it's fairly typical for a ridge line, we don't have elevations in house colors. And you're going to need that at some point in time. Other than that, what the last action you did back in May was to basically authorize circulation for intent to act as lead agency. You referred the application to Unionvale, and you referred the application to Dutchess County Planning. I don't think I've seen any response from any of those. So about the only action you could take tonight is to accept lead agency status and direct the applicant to address the open issues. Most of the ones in my letter are relatively minor, but again, we're looking at elevations and house colors, and we're looking for the recommendation on which trees can be or should be removed, and which can be or should remain. So that's where we stand. Unless Megan left you some different instructions, sir.
No, pretty much the same. So you got that's a ridgeline requirement, the trees, the colors, the elevations. And then that catch basin 3 you made bigger. I saw you're waiting for DOT. So do we do a motion to accept lead agency?
A simple oral motion should suffice, yes, Mr. Chair.
Like the board or just me?
Nope. Make the motion,
yeah.
somebody second, yeah.
Okay, motion to accept lead agency.
Motion made.
Second?
I'll make it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Yeah, that's everything on my list.
Okay, and the next steps here, we're going to have to do, this is a subdivision, so we can't entertain a public hearing unless and until seeker is closed. But I think we need to advance DOT a little bit, and we need these ridgeline questions addressed before we move to take a look at the seeker determination.
That was the last thing I had. But I knew we weren't doing it, so. So we've asked before on that, the trees and the colors and the elevations. Brian had a year to.
I'm going to blame it on another Brian.
Yeah.
So in this moment, it's Brian Watts here.
Okay.
I do know that this was added to this plan. This is all the existing trees in the limited disturbance we showed. They have the types and the diameters.
Okay.
That was
Yeah,
the limit of my knowledge on what we were doing.
What
at
I
that
think he
point.
volunteered was to have, no one here claimed to be a tree expert. What he volunteered was to have somebody with a little more arbor background to go out and take a look at the trees and maybe adjust which ones need to be saved or should be saved. Because some of these are pretty substantial trees, if my recollection is correct. And by just kind of tweaking things around in those areas, you might be able to preserve some of the better specimens. So that's what he was going to do. So you might want to remind him of that.
Any other questions for this one?
No.
We're okay? You're all set?
I think that actually concludes my list here at for the town of Grange tonight.
All right, next item on our agenda, Billingsbrook LLC Site Plan Special Use Permit Subdivision Wetlands Permit. Application to subdivide the property into 2 lots, one of which would contain the existing residential uses at the site, and 1 lot to contain two-unit dwellings for a total of 4 new units, located at 2377 to 2391 Route 82 in the Hamlet H zoning district, containing 5.18 acres, grid number 6561-04-758104, owner Billingsbrook LLC, Todd Lund, licensed professional, Povall Engineering. Hello.
Good evening. Bill Povall, I'm the engineer for the applicant. Just trying to find a plan here. File. Okay. Okay, we submitted back to the board, following our last meeting, pretty much wrapped up a bulk of the outstanding items. So at that point, we had to go but make an application to the health department before the board can move forward. We made the application to the health department, gone through a bunch of iterations with them to make necessary modifications and provide them with the details that they needed. As of today, there's only two very minor comments. One is a typo and another one is a note. Other than that, we've addressed all their concerns, and I actually addressed those two items with the health department today. So as of today, we're in a position to make a final submission to the health department with the plan for the approval. Because it's a subdivision, I have to provide them with a Mylar. So I got to finish up with the planning board, so there's no more changes to the Mylar, so that the health department can sign it.
What is a Mylar?
A Mylar is like, it's a see-through drawing that you file with the county clerk's office.
It's how they scan it,
It's
so
how-
they
yeah.
keep the records. Yeah, it has to be on a special paper.
I've never.
And I don't even,
Yeah.
with everything going on today, I don't know how much longer that's going to be the case.
Very true. I'm surprised they still do it.
Right, but, so now I'm back to the planning board, trying to just bring this thing to the end so I can prepare the Mylar.
So do you have a health department letter stating what you just stated to us?
Yes, we did submit that by email.
When?
Like 2 weeks ago. I believe you were copied on it.
Okay. No, but I have a note from Megan.
It wasn't,
Is she talking about the final letter?
we're never gonna get a final letter at this point in time.
Right.
The old health department engineer used to write a very succinct, nice sentence that said, it's technically approvable except for. Ron
Right.
Miller is not as clear and remains somewhat evasive. So it has the same function and effect. I'm done with it. He's got to do these two little things, but he doesn't say it that clearly.
Right.
So I think both Megan and I were confused, and you know, I understand what Billy's saying, but if you remember, Dave McDougal used to be pretty blunt and to the point. I'm ready to sign it, it's done, but,
Right.
so.
Megan's
Billy's
note was, if, you know, you can explain it.
I'm satisfied that he's at the final. The only difference, you would not be issuing a conditional approval. In other words, you'd be issuing your approval, because he does technically have health department. They just won't sign on the dotted line. They won't sign a Mylar, they won't issue the letter, because it's a subdivision. And it's a
Right.
cute little game they play, but we can work with that.
And I'll just add to that,
Just get a little closer to the mic.
So they need to approve the subdivision simultaneously with the site plan, because they can't approve the site plan on a lot that doesn't exist.
Right.
So that's why it all has to happen at the same time. So I just wanted to add that.
So to that end, I will also echo Mr. Povell's most of my issues have been resolved. There's a couple stormwater management facilities maintenance agreement and a stormwater facilities inspection and maintenance easement that have to be resolved. They're kind of standard paperwork, and they would appear as a condition of a resolution anyway. I think Megan is basically satisfied, and on her way out the door, she did prepare a resolution of preliminary and final subdivision, site plan, special use permit, and wetland disturbance for Billings Brook. It has one blank that needs to fill in, which would be the date of my letter, which is May 11th, 2026. And I think, given Mr. Poval's explanation of the health department, I would submit you're in a position to consider this resolution this evening.
Very good. Everyone want to take a look at it?
We're just noting that, oh, it's in the letter, okay, we're good then. Yeah.
Never mind.
We're just over here talking.
We're going to read this one too, or no?
Yeah. It's not as lengthy as the neck deck.
What typically most folks do is read the now therefore be it resolved, because you all know the background leading up to this. So if you go to page 2 of 3, therefore be it resolved that the planning board, having compared the form and substance of the complete application and all supporting documentation with the conditions and standards that must be met for issuance of a subdivision approval, hereby finds that such application and supporting materials demonstrate that the conditions, standards, as more fully set forth in Town Code 124, freshwater wetlands, water courses, and water bodies, Section 230, subdivision of land, Section 240.71, standards for special use permits, and Section 240.72, site plans, and are hereby satisfied by the applicant. And be it further resolved that the planning board has determined that a second public hearing will not be required for this application per Section 30110E. And be it further resolved, the planning board of the town of Grange makes the following findings pursuant to Section 277.4 of the town law, based on the present and anticipated future need for park and recreational opportunity in the town of LaGrange, and to which the future population of this project will contribute. Parkland should be created as a condition of approval. However, a suitable park of adequate size to meet the above requirement cannot be properly located within the proposed project site. Accordingly, it is appropriate that in lieu of providing parkland, the project sponsor render to the town payment of a recreation fee in an amount to be determined in accordance with the prevailing fee schedule established for that purpose by the town board, and as such schedule is administered by or on behalf of that board. And be it further resolved that the planning board of the town of LaGrange hereby adopts this resolution of preliminary and final subdivision approval, site plan approval, special use permit approval, and wetlands permit disturbance approval for the project known as Billings Brook, with the following conditions. The applicant shall pay all required and outstanding fees and/or escrow. The owner's consent block shall be included on a plan and signed and dated by the owner following the date of last revision. The applicant shall provide proof of satisfactory compliance with and/or resolution of the applicable concerns addressed in the following review memo, Rhodey, Stoika, and Andrews, dated May 11, 2026. And number 4, any changes or modifications which are determined by the project sponsor as necessary during the course of construction must be reviewed and approved by the planning board prior to implementation of such changes or modifications. It is the responsibility of the project sponsor to submit to the town of LaGrange proof of fulfillment of conditions numbered 1 through 3 contained in this resolution prior to the submission to the town and signing by the planning board chair of any final plans. The final drawings will not be accepted by the planning board without submission of such proof. You would need a motion, a second, and a vote, sir.
Just one minor tweak, on the middle of page 2 where it says, second public hearing will not be required for this application. It states section 30110E. That caught my attention because I know your code doesn't go that high. That should be 20310.
Everybody okay? Motion to adopt the resolution of approval.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion adopted. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Build it now?
Next item on our agenda, Rodriguez SSDS wetland permit application for wetland permit for proposed construction of new SSDS located at 1723 Route 82 in the Gateway Hamlet GH zoning district containing 1.26 acres, grid number 6559-01-422608, owner Joseph Rodriguez, licensed professional, Labella Associates. Hello.
Hello, good evening. That's me, Danielle Stark from Labella Associates, here on behalf of the applicant, Joseph Rodriguez, who seeks a septic replacement and new well connection, specifically from the town planning board, seeks a wetland permit approval for those things. At his office building located at 1723 Route 82, tax lot 422608. So we originally submitted this application in 2024, and per the town's comments, they requested approval from New York State DEC for the wetland buffer encroachment and fill, as well as the county DOH approval. So since then, we've received the Article 24 permits approval, and most recently in January 2026, the DOH conceptual approval for that well connection. So we're here tonight to give you that update and see what the next steps might be.
All right, very good. John?
Okay, I'm going to start with Megan's. I was not around when this first went through, but what's interesting on this is the existing septic system for this property is on the neighboring property. It exists by means of a easement. It's official. That septic system is failing, so they are going to abandon or discontinue its use, and they're going to put in a complete new septic system on their property. In order to do so, they have to be in the wetland buffer. They are not in the wetland. They are also, a small portion of that is also in the 100-year floodplain, the area of special flood hazard. So they're going to need, once your folks are finished, they're going to need to go to the building department or the zoning administrator and get a floodplain development permit. However, as the young lady indicated, the last time they were before you was way back in 2024. And at which time you took a series of actions. Number one, you declared it a type 2 action requiring no further seeker review. You held a public hearing on September 19th. 2024. The public hearing was open and closed with no comments from the public. So they were kind of charged with getting the rest of the approvals. And they've kind of got those approvals. There's a couple, I have some issues. Megan had a couple minor issues, but I think there's a couple things to point out. The wetland permit is done, satisfied. The health department approval is kind of an unusual one. It's conditional approval. It says, we'll give you a full approval, but what you got to do is go out there, drill the well, test the well, and give us some test results on the well. And if they're satisfactory, we'll give you your full approval. Okay? They need the floodplain development permit, and the existing system, as I said, is on an easement. The original drawings used to have that easement pretty well defined. It's kind of disappeared. The easement needs to be redefined. But what happens is they're going to abandon it in place. They're not going to take it out. So what I would like to see is written approval and/or acceptance of the proposed abandonment in place from the owner of that parcel. So in other words, the owner needs to acknowledge, hey, I had no problem with that. And if that, I don't know whether the easement needs or should be extinguished, or if there are any conditions or obligations. I was able to track down the easement. I have provided the easement instrument to council. I don't know if she's had an opportunity to review it yet, but there's a couple matters that need to be kind of fine-tuned before you move this ahead. But what I would suggest is it might be appropriate tonight to authorize us to prepare a resolution on the wetland permit issuance for your next meeting, providing we work through these details. Council?
No, the easement's fairly straightforward in the sense that the terms are clear. It's kind of surprising that the neighboring property owner in the original easement agreed that the party of the first part, meaning her client, did not have any obligation to remove the septic system once it was abandoned. So I agree that confirmation that the neighboring property owner is aware that it's now abandoned and confirms that. And it may be wise to close out the easement by stating that it's been abandoned. Maybe having something abandoned in place. Does your client have an attorney they work with that I can talk about this with briefly?
Not that I'm aware of. I spoke with the client prior to this meeting after receiving that comment, and it's, as far as she is aware, there's no intention of abandoning that easement, extinguishing that easement. So I can ask if they have an attorney, though, if you'd like to speak with them.
Yeah, because if it's been abandoned in place, I guess what I'm thinking about the fact is if it continues in the chain of title without some acknowledgement that it's been abandoned, I think it could lead to confusion in the future, that the septic has actually been abandoned.
Okay.
What have they been doing for 2 years if it's failed?
Nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Yeah.
This is the small building north of ShopRite. It sits by itself. There was a boat next to it for years.
The boat is there everywhere.
Yeah. I don't believe, they were gonna put a cabinet store in there, but they never did.
I don't think the building's currently in use.
No, I don't think it's in use.
It's been in limbo, I think, sir. Is there a drawing?
Everyone's learning how to use it, so don't.
This will be erosion sediment control plan here. Oh yeah, there it is. Sorry. I don't know if you want me to. Yeah, that's good. Oh. But yeah, you see the wetland limit here, the buffer here, and the proposed septic here.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It appears as though a good portion of the parking lot is on the neighboring property. Is there a issue with parking counts for utilization of the building?
Not that I'm aware of, but there's no proposed changes to the building or the land use at this time.
Yeah, I know the application's for septic. But
Yeah, fix the septic, yeah.
It's just kind of odd.
John, this application's only to fix the septic.
It only deals with the wetland permit for the septic.
Right.
They had started, and the record is kind of odd. I did go back as far as I could. Wanda had there was a rezoning involved in this, and there was some other things, and it never got perfected, and they withdrew it all. So I think what they wanted to do before they figured out what they could do with the building, they want to get the septic to work and get them, be on their own parcel. So now that they do this, it may end up being, and I want to talk to Megan when she returns, we may end up making, before occupancy of the building, they might need to come back with a site plan.
Right.
But I'm not clear yet. That's something that probably needs to be discussed with Megan and Sarah.
Looks like a lot of fill for this system.
Yes.
Significant.
Yes, yeah, we received, as part of the Article 24, the approval for that certain amount of fill within the buffer.
I think they got 6 feet of fill.
Yeah, we were authorized to increase the amount of fill from approximately 1,350 cubic yards to 2,212 cubic yards within the buffer area.
A lot of trucks.
Yeah.
And that's only on that little area.
I know it well.
They were pretty limited as to where they could put it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with this. We were involved with this for a long time. At one time, a cabinet store wanted to go in there. But for now, this is just the repair of the septic.
Yes.
Be nice to see it do something rather than sit there and post.
Yes.
Right.
Anywhere in the town, that's my opinion, if you want to do something with something that's been sitting there forever.
Right.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Any other questions? So we'll do a motion so that Rebecca can draw up.
Well, at this point, I think I'd like to,
Wait and talk to him?
yeah, we're also gonna take a look at the filed map, because we're noting that there's an easement on the filed map as well. So I think I would like to get an understanding, if your client does have an attorney, as to whether or not, because it seems like the easement should be abandoned if that's not, if that system isn't there. There's no need to have the easement, and the map could be tweaked, but.
I think the third page of the easement addresses the, and future.
Well, typically what happens is the septic system is shown on a filed map, you've all experienced it, and you change the septic system for whatever the reason, you file an amended filed map, just so it stays in the chain of title. So in a case like this, where there's an easement, it may just be simple where you refile a map and put abandoned over the easement, so that it then becomes clear in the chain of title that the easement exists, but the septic system within the easement has been abandoned. And that way, future buyers, et cetera, know what goes on. And because there's no obligation to remove, to avoid future lawsuits, I'm not counsel, but I'll disagree with her a little bit. It may not be wise to distinguish the easement at this point in time, because it does, the way the instrument is written, it does resolve the parties of any obligation to change or remove the septic. So there's a couple moving pieces here that need to be squared away. That makes sense?
So we'll wait on.
In some way, it should be closed out or
Yes.
something, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So there's nothing you can do tonight.
Okay.
And I.
Anyone else have any
We'll talk
questions?
about it and we'll move forward.
Anybody, any
I don't know if
questions?
that easement has anything to do with the parking lot too, right? With any of the
No, it solely relates to the septic.
Yeah, I may have to work with Sandy too to pull the record, because this had a rezoning associated with it. There was a couple applications, and Wanda had it withdrawn back in the day, and I don't have any real access to them, so maybe we can help to flesh this out a little bit closer. All right.
All right.
Okay. Okay, so we'll respond to your comments and then.
Respond to our comments and go ahead.
All right, very good. Next item on our agenda, time extensions, reapprovals. Spitzmiller site plan and special use permit for adaptive reuse to operate a pottery studio inside the existing facility located at 2765 New York State Route 82 in Hamlet H zoning district, 4.85 acres, grid number 656204-919045. Owner John Alva, licensed professional, Anthony Belomo, landscape architect. Hello.
Good evening. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm well. I'm Anthony Belomo. I am representing Christopher Spitzmiller, who's also here, if you have specific questions for him. And essentially, there's only a couple things in the file, so I will pull up the site plan just for reference purposes. Should be in here. That's the supplemental narrative. Here we go. Site plan, that's the one I want. Just as a point of clarification, on the agenda description, which is the same description that was used when we were in front of the board 4 years ago, it lists the owner as John Alva. He was the owner at the time that we were before the board in 2022, but subsequently, after getting the special use permit approved, Mr. Spitzmiller purchased the property. So in the current application form, he is listed as owner. Just wanted to point that out. And essentially, we are here tonight because the original signed approved plan, which I have pulled up, the approval has elapsed. Mr. Spitzmiller purchased the property in 22 after we received approval from the board, which we received at the February 24th, 2022 meeting. There was a public hearing held that evening. And then subsequently, the plans were signed in April of 2022. He then moved ahead and purchased the property. The property was a former herb farm. It's at 2765 New York 82. And as you can see, there are these large growing fields at the southern end of the property. There is an existing two-story building towards sort of the middle of the property. And then in the far back rear, there is a former train depot building that is a one-story building. This was the Moores Mills Hamlet, and I believe that old train depot served an old rail line that used to run along the western edge of this property. Since we received approval in 2022, Mr. Spitzmiller started to develop the cut flower growing fields that were the former herb farm. There's essentially 3 uses associated with this previous approval. One was to establish these cut flower growing fields in the old herb farm growing area. And then at some point in the future, establish a pottery showroom in the former train depot building. And also a pottery production facility inside the existing 2-story building. What basically transpired from 22 to 25 is the establishment of all the growing fields. So we did all the landscape improvements along Route 82, established the growing fields, and essentially not until this point in time was there a yield that warranted moving forward with doing some kind of a retail component from which the cut flowers and seasonal plants could be sold. What we missed is the fine print in the signature block, which says that improvements have to occur within 1 year of the approval. So we started to make cosmetic aesthetic improvements to the 1-story train depot building in late March of this year. And then in April, we did meet with Sarah, the zoning administrator, Sarah Davis. They came to the site. We did get a stop work order. And so we met with them at the town 1 week later to kind of take a step back, review what was wrong, and at that point, it was clarified that the work needed to be performed or at least begun within 1 year of the approval, and we were now 4 years out. So at that meeting, Megan advised that we come back before the board, which is why we're here tonight, essentially with the same exact application as we did 4 years ago, and we're requesting it just be reapproved.
So I will kind of jump in and get into Megan's comments. Thank you for that very detailed review. So as the applicant stated, this is essentially an application to reapprove substantively the same project. So as it comes to the special use permit, the time expiration period is a little bit different. So you have the ability to renew that just standing on its own. And then separately, your code allows for reapproval of site plans. And it states that you can determine under seeker that it's type 2 if there's no substantive changes and nothing that triggers your concern. And it is at your option whether or not you feel a public hearing is necessary, depending on your review of the information. So the recommendations that are made by Megan are that the board will need to determine if the application can be handled ministerially, in which case a public hearing on this reapproval will not be required. If the board determines that a public hearing is necessary, you can schedule that for the next meeting. Under 24072G4, she recommends that the board declare the reapproval a type 2 action. And also, if the board finds that reapproval is warranted, the board can grant the reapproval of the site plan, which will expire after 1 year. I do believe she transmitted a draft of a resolution in anticipation that the board may feel that this can move forward. So you've got a couple pieces. You have to determine whether or not you think it needs a public hearing. Then whether or not you wish to declare it type 2. And if you determine it does not need a public hearing, whether or not you feel comfortable granting the resolution. Let me see how she worded this. A site plan and special use permit.
What do you guys think?
So Anthony, is this intended to be an operation similar to the herb farm where it's not really public in, public out, or is it more of a retail type of?
It'll have limited retail. So right now what we're proposing is that it would be like Thursday, Friday, Saturday from 9 to 3 where people could come in to purchase plants, cut flowers, that kind of thing. So that would be the limited public access element of it. And in addition to it just being a few days a week, it would also be seasonally obviously based. So it would operate probably April through October during the actual growing season, and the retail aspect of it would not be open during the winter months.
Are you growing everything that you're selling, or are you bringing anything in by truck?
Some seasonal plants are brought in, just plant deliveries, violas and pansies in the spring, things like that, annuals, bedding plants, but not large plant material. And in terms of cut flowers, all cut flowers sold are being grown in the field.
There was already a public hearing when this was first opened up.
Yes.
And what was it, one line you said you missed? The one line?
Oh, in the signature block of the approved site plan, that's where it states essentially that work must be begun within the first year of the approval.
Okay.
And so while we did begin work in so much as we did landscape improvements, we started to rework the cut flower growing fields and put in fencing and all the elements associated with that part of it. We did not perform any work on the building up until recently, and so that's why we're wanting to move forward with that, and then we'll work with Penn on the actual occupancy components.
Should move forward. It's been approved already, right?
It's all visible right from the road.
So the growing fields are quite visible. The site sits low. So the drive, the access is the site sort of drops down from 82. And so the cut flower growing fields are actually quite visible. And at this moment in time, because they're all going into bloom, or I think really good, attractive improvement on the property. The buildings are set further back, particularly the old train depot building. There's a single-family home that's in the parcel that's notched out on that plan, and they have established a very heavy evergreen border of spruce trees. So the buildings are sort of tucked around in that L-shaped layout of the site. Thank you.
They're much closer to Sunset that comes around the backside of the property.
That's right, yeah.
So on the reapproval, if the ownership has changed, that's okay?
not- The approval runs with the land, so
Okay.
as long as it is substantively the same, who the owner is at the time of the application is not of a concern of the board.
And then the next question I have, the use will be exactly like it was that we approved before.
Correct. Yeah, yeah, the only difference was the fact that we really didn't make progress with the buildings on the first phase because we didn't have really the driving force, which was now we have the yield of all the cut flowers. So now we're just looking to do exactly what we proposed the first time, only actually start doing the work on the buildings.
Anthony, is the pottery studio, is that also retail or is that?
So the idea is that the pottery production happens in that two-story building, and then items produced on site can be sold in the retail component that will be housed in the train depot. So it sort of will be tethered with the cut flower and plant component, so it's all one comprehensive retail component. It's not separate shops.
You foresee a similar retail environment as like Orangerie?
I think it'll be a scaled down version of that because I just don't want to have a retail outlet that's open every single day from 10 to 6 ever again, year round. And so this is basically a way of having some version of that, but just very on a small scale and selling the items that are produced in the pottery and hopefully the cut flowers from the site. So it's a very localized concept, I guess, with the exception of, as pointed out, bringing in some seasonal plants from outside growers.
Rebecca, the decision on the public hearing, should we do it like roll call vote or just ask?
Is there anybody who feels strongly that they think this needs to go to a public hearing?
You think?
No.
No, then I think you can just do a motion. Let me just give you the proposed section. I would just, a motion pursuant to 24072G4 that this application does not require a public hearing on the approval.
Motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And then you should declare it a type 2 action under seeker.
Motion to declare type 2 under seeker.
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And as I stated, you do have a draft resolution that was prepared by Megan before she left the office in anticipation of tonight's meeting. What is the board's feeling? Sandy, was yours? Oh, okay. Oh, you don't have that in front of you?
No, we do not.
Oh, okay, all right. So then, in that instance, it was provided to me by email. I guess I didn't realize it was not up in Meeting Lab and we are supposed to post them. I could read it to the board, and you could move forward to see if we get it.
It's okay with me.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So whereas an application for site development plan and special use permit approval was submitted to the planning board of the town of Grange for the project more fully detailed as follows. The project site consists of 4.85 plus or minus acres at 2765 Route 82 in the town of Grange, identified as tax parcel number 6562049199045 in the H Hamlet zoning district. The project is served by private well and septic. The current proposal is to operate a pottery studio within the existing building and growing flowers in the former herb field. The planning board determined that this action is a type 2 action for seeker. This has some of the dates of prior approval. So the planning board had conducted a site visit on September 14th, 2024, a duly noticed public hearing. No, that should be, that's a wrong date. I'll confirm that because a public hearing was held on February 24th, 2022, at which time there were positive comments from the public. The planning board closed the public hearing on February 24th, 2022. No new paving, no new refuse storage area, and no outdoor storage is proposed. The planning board granted waivers on February 24th, 2022. Topography, list of soil types, herb and landscape parking areas. Street trees every 30 to 35 feet, trees of greater than 8-inch diameter, and general tree line. 24072 C3D grading plan, erosion and settlement control plan, and stormwater plan details. The planning board, having compared the form and substance of the complete application and all supporting documentation with the condition and standards that must be met for the issuance of site plan and subdivision approval, found that the application and supporting materials demonstrated that the conditions and standards as more fully set forth in Town Code Section 24071, standards for special use permits, and 24072 site plans were satisfied. Whereas the planning board granted conditional site plan and special use permit approval on February 24th, 2022. Whereas per section 24072G1, site plan approval is valid for a period of 1 year, and per 24071J, special use permits become void if construction has not begun within 1 year of the date of approval. The site plan and special use permits for this application expired February 24th, 2023. Whereas the site plan approval and special use permit, the applicant has requested reapproval of the site plan per 24072G and a renewal of the special use permit per 24071J to take effect May 1, 2026. And therefore be it resolved that the planning board of the town of LaGrange hereby adopts this resolution of site plan reapproval and special use permit renewal for the project known as Spitz Miller, which shall hereby expire May 21, 2027, subject to satisfactory compliance with the following conditions. The applicant shall pay all required and outstanding fees and escrow, and 2, any changes or modifications which are determined by the project sponsor as necessary during the course of construction must be reviewed and approved by the planning board prior to implementation of such changes or modifications. It is the responsibility of the project sponsor to submit to the town of LaGrange proof of fulfillment of conditions number 1 and 2 contained in this resolution. Additionally, it is the responsibility of the project sponsor to obtain a building permit and begin construction prior to May 21, 2027, and to complete construction by May 21, 2028.
Okay. Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else, Rebecca? Sandy?
No.
Motion to close the meeting.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
I jumped on that.
Opposed? What time is it? 9:29.